Hello, welcome back. All right, so in the previous video, we were able to create our first HTML file and we add the setup. Just to remind you, I told us of the shortcut Shift and 1, and then we added more of these meta properties that naturally does not come with VS Code by default. And then I told us all of that is to be added inside the header, and I told us that the body element should be divided into three: header element, main element, and the footer element. All right, now, so in furtherance to that, let us just quickly, what are the things we expect to cover in this course? Well, of course, we already know what HTML5 is, and we're going to learn about semantic markups, semantic elements. We're going to learn about entity codes. We're going to understand the difference between inline and block level elements. I'm going to learn quite a lot, a few other elements, not a few, quite, a number of elements: div and spans, soup and sub, m and strong, header, footer. We've already seen header, we've seen footer, even though we've not really worked much with them. We've seen the main, and I think I explained what the nav, but we'll get to all of that one after the other. So, what exactly is HTML5? It is a document that describes how HTML should work. And the role of the browser is just to describe the rules of HTML. So the browsers actually don't do the work. Sorry, the browsers are actually the ones that do the work and implement HTML according to those rules. Just like in the previous videos where we tried searching on Google, and then we search for somebody, and I showed us the real thing that Google server sent back. But then the browser, our browser, your browser, everyone's browser describes the rules, understands HTML, understands the rules, understands the codes, and it's, shall I say, transcribes them in a manner that we can understand as humans. All right, so HTML5 is the latest evolution of the standard that defines HTML. It's the latest evolution, not latest version. It's not a version. Don't get confused by this 5. It's not a version that you get to update or something. It's just an evolution. HTML5 came up because some new rules were added to it, some new functionalities, but it's not like your normal software where you have to update. It just carries that word 5. So the HTML5 included new elements and features for browsers to implement. Like I said, we're going to learn a few things. So let's start with header elements. Header elements. Now, what are header elements? I'm sure you probably see in pages. Let me see if I can find a page for us here. All right, here we are. So I'm sure you get to see this in sites. You see something that looks like just from the word header, we have elements that we use to write headers like this. This is probably an H1. This is also an header here inside the navbar section. You scroll down a little more headers, things that looks like sub headers like this. Launch a new career in as little as 6 months. This is like probably an H3. Look at this now. Project manager. We have some like a text below it. This on its own, it's also an header element. You scroll down, you find this probably on every site. Median entry salary, it's just everywhere. These recommended professional certificates, they are all headers. So that's what we're talking about. And this is still our HTML page. We've not written any code. We've not done any markup yet. So we have 6 header elements. We have 6 header elements. Now, when I talk about header elements, don't mistake it for this header here. Or maybe I should rather call it heading elements. We have 6 heading elements, and then they are H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. Now, to write my opening tag, shift less than, and I type H1. I close it. VS Code automatically completes it for me. And in between the opening and closing tag, you write whatever you want to write. So I can write welcome to my job finder. I think that's what we could find here. Job finder home page. And you save, and then you go to your browser, and when you refresh, you find it there exactly. Can you see welcome to my job finder page? So that is how an H1 is. Of course, you can make it bigger, you can make it smaller, you can change the color. All of that is done with CSS. Now let's look at H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. So I'm going to have an H2 here. I am an H2 element. Let me use that word. So we're just going to duplicate this, and you see the difference in all of them. The difference is just the size. The font size keeps reducing. Okay, so we'll just update them. H3, this is an H3 element. What have I just done? I should be writing. Okay, I probably did. I was doing something else. This H4, H5, this should be H3. Okay, and this should be H6 element. The next should be H5, H4, H3, H2, H3, H4, H5 here, and finally H6. So we have different tags, all of them. Now I'm going to save, and you're going to see what we have. I refresh the page. You can see this is our H1. It is the biggest. This is an H2 heading, H3, H4, H5, and H6. So depending on whatever structure you're trying to create on your page, and one rule you should understand is on every page, H1 should always come first, and you should not have more than just one H1 element on a page. That's the rule. On one page, you have one H1 element, and then it should come first. So you don't probably start your page with an H3 and then have an H1 later on in the page in the middle. No, that will be violating the standard. All right. So in this course, in this particular video rather, we've introduced us to the first elements, which are the heading elements, and we saw heading 1 to 6. So in the next video, we're looking at the next element, and that is the P tag paragraph element. See you in the next video.